Breaking New Grounds, Part 2. And in Part 2, like I said earlier on, we'll be talking about the cost factor. What does it cost to be a record breaker, a new record setter? What does it cost? The cost factor. And I'll read 3 verses of scriptures as text. Matthew chapter 13 and verse 44 to 46. Matthew 13 and 44 to 46. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in a field, the which when a man has found, he hideth it, and for the joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that field. He went and sold all that he has to buy that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man, that's a businessman, seeking goodly pears. He desires to break forth into another realm. Who, when he had found one pear of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Breaking new grounds is a costly endeavor. For which of you intending to build a tower, Jesus said, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost. Every tower you see today, behind this is a towerly cost. There's a towerly price behind every standing tower today. This generation is not interested in the cost. They are only interested in the feat. They want the results, but they are not interested in the prize. So they keep chasing after the wind all their life. He should count the cost whether he has sufficient to finish it. Lest haply after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold him begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Luke chapter 14 and verse 28 to 30. I've heard the Lord speak to me at 3 separate times on the recovery of the dignity of Africa with clearly defined mandates. The first time I heard God speak to me was in March 1979 when I saw heaps of harvest of corns being devoured by the birds of the air, while a woman showed up in that vision, trying hard to chase the birds away, but all to no avail. Now she ran in one direction, the birds went the other direction. She was sweating from the crown of her head to the soles of her feet. She removed her head tie and tied it over her upper part. I began sobbing profusely at this sight and crying, who will help this woman? This was not a dream of the night, it was an open vision. When an early morning Saturday prayer meeting at Ibadan, some young men, when I saw this line, and in a moment I saw a line of activities. Some putting the grains in the bags, others sewing the mouth of the bags, and while others were carrying the bags on their back into the stores. And then I breathed a deep sigh of relief. It was at the end of this vision that I saw, spanning the entire scene, the breadth of the scene, a very dirty, rumpled banner on which was inscribed Africa. 1979. I never knew what that would mean. But in August 1987, I was in the US, in that beautiful hotel room. It was in the early hours of that day when the voice of the Lord came calling, "Arise, get back home and make my people rich." It was such a compelling voice that I had to stop all my established preaching schedules and return in obedience to this command. I saw home as Africa. Get back home and make my people rich. So I saw that as a mandate for the economic recovery of our continent. On returning home, I began what was tagged Breakthrough in Business seminars across the towns and cities of Nigeria until the hotels could no longer accommodate the crowd. 20 years have come and gone since this mandate was given, and the vision has been speaking louder by the day. Then came 4th of May 1994, on my way driving from Zaria to Kaduna in the car, when God spoke to me in very clear terms, the harvest of Africa is now overripe. Rush in and preserve it from decadence. Well, we began with missionary activities across Africa with church planting following. But I knew that this mandate is a call for the recovery of the dignity of the black race. By the grace of God, major players in the Nigerian economy, particularly at various levels, are directly or indirectly products of these heavenly mandates. What am I talking about? The time for change has truly come. And I see you as a beneficiary of that divine agenda. A dramatic change is going to be effected as an aftermath of this convention in your business. Something that will keep speaking the remaining days of your life will start off here. Every prize carries a price. As the finding pot for silver and the furnace for gold, so is a man to his praise. Proverbs 24 verse 21, 27 verse 21. So the level of dignity you command is a function of the price you are willing to pay. Proverbs 27 and verse 21. As the finding pot for silver and the furnace for gold, so is a man to his praise. Every great accomplishment, therefore, is a product of a great price. Christ himself said, "I am come to send fire on the earth. And what will I, if it be already kindled? But I have a baptism to baptize with. And how am I straightened or stretched till it be accomplished?" Luke 12, 49 and 50. Every global impact will demand a global price. And I think we should know this. There is no shortcut to greatness. Like Beverly Seals will say, there are no shortcuts to anywhere worth going. There are no shortcuts to anywhere worth going. There are no shortcuts to anywhere worth going. That's very important. So in looking at the cost of breaking new grounds, let's look at farming, for example. The following operations will be required in opening up a new farmland. And I've tried to put them together. There are 5 of them. Clearing is the first thing you do. And this involves the use of major equipment such as bulldozer to take care of uprooting unwanted trees, payloaders, graders. The second operation you require in opening up a new farmland is plowing. After the clearing is done, then you get into plowing. Plowing is breaking the ground. And then you go into harrowing. And after harrowing, you go into ridging. And then after ridging, you go into planting. So there is clearing, there is plowing, there is harrowing, there is ridging before you get into planting. So breaking new grounds is costly. It's really costly to open up new farmlands. Only 20% of such cost is required in maintaining the old ones. And I'd like you to understand this. The old one will only require you planting. It will not require clearing. It will not require plowing, harrowing, or ridging. Those are for virgin lands. So breaking new grounds is extremely costly. We must be conscious of that. Jesus came on a groundbreaking mission to the world. He was stretched to accomplish it. He was 40 days in the wilderness. He was stretched to accomplish it. His schedules were the toughest anybody can go through on this earth. He was stretched to accomplish it. He was in the bush. He was in the streets. He was everywhere. He was praying all night. He was teaching all day long. How am I straightened until it be accomplished? That's why many people settle for the status quo. Because of the unbearable cost, the seeming unbearable cost that breaking new ground demand. For our purpose, I've decided to look at the cost factor from three main perspectives. The spiritual cost. Because except the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain that builds it. We need to be connected to source for our needed helps. And this help will come to us both by the revelation of the truth and by prayers. Revelation of the truth and by prayers. Those who do know their God, they shall be strong and they shall do exploits. Like we were told in the last teaching, you need to spend time with God to develop yourself spiritually. Because your inheritance is transferred to you through the revelation knowledge of the truth. He has given us all things that we'll ever require in our life and business that pertains to life and godliness, but they are delivered to us through the knowledge of Him who has called us unto glory and virtue. So your delivery is a function of your insight. What reaches you from your inheritance is a function of the working knowledge of the truth that you possess. Those who do know their God, they shall be strong and they shall do exploits. Job was a man of depth, as it was in the days of my youth. Job said, when the secret of God was upon my tabernacle, I washed my feet with butter, and the rock poured me out rivers of oil. The secret of God just guided me into great exploits, into great fortune. Oh, we need time. We need time to spend in the Word of God. We need time to spend in prayers. We need to invest time in the Word. We are business people. It has to be invested. We are not just spending it, we are investing it. We are creating a future by that investment.